A long time ago, there lived a king and his queen in a faraway kingdom. They had 5 children, 4 princes and 1 princess. The princess was called Adaeze. The king was very wealthy and his kingdom surpassed all the kingdoms far and wide. He was a very kind king and helped a lot of people who came to seek for his assistance. Due to his kindness, his subjects were ready to do anything that would put smiles on his face. The king was also a very kind lady who, like her husband, was kind and would go extra miles to help anyone in need. Adaeze was a very beautiful princess and was so beautiful that she was almost worshipped like a goddess in the kingdom. As she grew up, the young men from far and wide often vowed to seek her hand in marriage. Whenever she came out of the palace, you could hear people calling her name, Adaeze the beautiful princess, Adaeze the beautiful princess. She would turn, swell like a peacock, and with a smile on her face, wave and walk away. When Adaeze turned 16, it was a problem keeping the princes of the other lands away from her. They were trooping into the palace to seek for her hand in marriage. But when they came, she would always refuse, complaining that they were either too ugly or not up to her standard. She would always have one good reason for refusing each of them. This continued until almost all the eligible bachelors in the environs were rejected by her. Adaeze would dress with all her expensive adornments and sit like the princess she was in the midst of others to be glorified like a goddess. Prince Adaeze, won't you get married? They would say. Please make a choice, princess, so that we can hold a big grand ceremony for your sake. Her parents will not let her be. Her brothers and family, friends will not let her be too. They continued pestering her to pick a suitor from the throngs of men coming. This continued until the king became tired of it all. But one day, while some of the palace guards were relaxing in front of the palace, a very handsome young man on horseback rode towards the palace and approached them, asking to see the king. They were all staring at him. They had not seen the likes of him before. They saw that he looked rich and had an outstanding princely stature and elegance. He demanded to see the king with such aristocratic voice that made them wonder who he actually was. He demanded to see the king with such a aristocratic voice. And when he met the king, he said he was searching for a wife and wanted to marry Adaeze. The king told him it was not in his powers to grant his wish, but that of his daughter Adaeze. The king sent for her, and when she came in, the stranger was shown to her. My beloved princess, the palace spokesman said, this handsome young man has come to seek your hand in marriage and has demanded to be presented before you. Adaeze's radiance blossomed as soon as she heard that. She moved forward and looked at the prince. Instantly, she felt a jolt around her as she stared into the depth of a tantalizing pair of eyes she had never seen before. He was handsome, more than handsome could be. He was tall, and words could not describe his astute physical features. She fell in love with him right there and then. She turned to face the palace spokesman. Princess Adaeze, do you like the young prince or not? Asked the spokesman. And will you marry him? Yes, I accept him and I accept to marry him, she replied, to the surprise of everyone in the palace. That was an astounding thing to hear. Everyone was silent as though an angel had just walked past. They were all astounded. They could not believe what they were hearing. The princess has accepted to marry at last. Ah! As though for fear of her refusing the offer if they did not do it on time, the king quickly organized the marriage, and the entire kingdom witnessed a great marriage occasion they had never witnessed for so long, many centuries back. The marriage was completed, and the entire kingdom watched the princess mount the stranger's horse, and they were set to go. In tears of joy, the people of the kingdom escorted the princess and her husband towards their destination. They got a little bit far before they turned back home with the prince, promising to bring the princess for a visit during the next traditional ceremony. The prince and the princess were now left alone to continue the journey towards the prince's home. As they were going, they got to a very far place in the forest. The prince told the princess to climb down from the horse. He collected the reins of the horse and led it to a man that came out of the house. He came back to join the princess without the horse. "Where is the horse, my lord?" asked the princess. "I've given it back to the owner. I borrowed it when I was coming to marry you, and we have to complete the journey on foot," he answered, leading the way forward. Surprised, the princess started thinking, what could this man be doing? She was tired of the journey. Her feet were beginning to ache. They walked for a long time, and again he returned the fine clothes he was wearing. He kept on returning everything he had on him and kept on telling her the same thing over and over again as they went along. At the last point, he returned his body and changed into a very mighty snake. Adaeze was completely taken aback and shaken by this time. She started to cry, regretting why she had not chosen the other prince she knew instead of a total stranger. Why had she been carried away by the handsomeness and fake appearance of the stranger? So the lovely eyes were that of a snake? She asked herself within shivering. She kept on regretting, but it was too late to turn back the hands of the clock. There was a big hole directly before them, and the snake was pointing that was his home. Oh, the snake told her not to cry because it was her choice to get married to him. And before he went into the hole, he tied her tightly to a tree. It was so tight that the rope was cutting deep into her skin. Content and happy that she would not be able to escape, the snake glided into the hole to prepare the place for her as her new home. Meanwhile, a hunter that had been hunting for days without any catch had wandered deep into the forest and was witnessing the whole scenario before him. He was wondering what could such a beautiful girl be doing in the depths of the forest with a mighty snake around her. While he was watching, the snake glided into the hole and the girl was left there, sobbing her heart out. He quietly came out of hiding and stood in front of the girl. "What are you doing with the big snake in the heart of the forest?" he asked. She was glad to see the hunter and quickly begged him to untie her, that she would tell him everything as soon as she was free. "All right, it has to be quick, otherwise the snake will kill us when it comes out to find out what is happening," the hunter said. He adjusted his gun, ready to shoot the snake if it comes out to attack, and quickly loosened the right ropes around Adaeze. He threw off the rope and held her by the hand, and they started to run. They had run far before they heard the sound of something coming after them and knew it must be the snake. It was shouting, "Adaeze, come back to me. I'm your husband and you cannot escape. Adaeze, come back to me. I'm your husband and you cannot escape," it cried. They ran and ran as much as they could and landed in Adaeze's father's kingdom. The hunter shouted for the guards to be ready with their guns immediately, and as the furious snake, still shouting, got into the kingdom, his head was chopped off. Adaeze, shaking with fright, all her body, blood gushing out, told her father what had happened as they left the kingdom. And the surprised king and queen and entire kingdom were shocked by it all. They were happy that she was still alive and successfully escaped death. When Adaeze's wounds were healed and she had regained herself from the trauma, they thanked the hunter and in compensation gave him a part of the kingdom to rule. And Adaeze's hands were also given to him for marriage. This time she did not argue. Neither did she look for handsomeness nor wealth, but was grateful and happy she had got her life back and securely married a man that could take care of her. This is a very big lesson to women, and that is why we must not be overtly critical and choosy in things we do in life. We must weigh it in a way that it will not be unfavorable against us. That is the end of the story. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my videos so that any new one I get, you will be the first to get one. Thank you very much.